Good evening. My name is Lee Duncan Carry-On, and I am the very proud mother of Penn-Mar. When I was invited to speak about our family and the theme of seasons of change, I knew I had to share our story. In June 2012, Pud was preparing to graduate from her residential school on the Eastern Shore. She is nonverbal and has Down syndrome, autism, and coupled with some challenging behavioral issues. As many of you know, this transition from the educational years into adult life is fraught with worry and hard choices. This new reality of adulthood is cloaked in mystery. There are no rating systems, no parent handbook, no support groups to help parents and guardians navigate this almost secret, complex world. I spent 18 months traveling around the state of Maryland, searching for the best adult residential and day placement. Of course, I did find that truly special place at Penn-Mar, but they could not accept her. They had a long waiting list and no foreseeable openings. I chose another organization and breathed a sigh of relief. After all, this is one of the most important decisions a family will make. Then, just 8 weeks before Pud's graduation, the offer of placement was rescinded. I did find what I believe was a solid organization. I still held the hope that Penn-Mar would accept her in a future year. So Pud started her adult life. Within 2 weeks, I realized that there were some serious issues. In mid-July 2012, I was involved in a meeting with that institution's leaders to resolve the now boiling crisis. My very good friend and attorney, Todd Chasen, who had resolved another crisis for Pud several years before, attended the meeting with me. At some point, Todd and I went into the hall for a private conference. He looked at me and stated that this organization could not handle my daughter's needs. He asked if there was anywhere in Maryland that I thought was the best of the best. Absolutely, I replied. Penn-Mar. What will it take to get her accepted? Todd ventured. With profound sadness, I said, it will take a miracle. As the weeks passed, the crisis deepened. She was never permitted outside her tiny apartment. She spent untold hours in her minuscule room, alone, sweating on a soiled mattress. The TV loudly played endless hours of violent cartoons. They fed her, but otherwise ignored or fought with her. Pud was a prisoner. Her adult staff clearly hated and feared her. When I brought her home for the first visit since graduation, our family was shocked by her condition. In a mere 7 weeks, she had gained so much weight that her clothes ripped when I tried to dress her. Her nails were ragged claws, and her body was covered in scratches and bruises. A fungus grew on her head caused by the insufferable heat she was forced to endure. Her medications were left in packs, not administered. Pud was living in the worst unimaginable hell. I sought help from state and local authorities to no avail. I continued to document our experiences. No one would intervene. Then one day, I received a phone call from the then director of Penn-Mar's day program. He agreed to go visit with us in her apartment. During that meeting, I looked at him as I neared its conclusion and stated the facts. Penn-Mar had saved the folks from Rosewood. Now, please, will they consider saving my beautiful daughter? Others from the Penn-Mar team also visited with Pud. After several more weeks and more horrible events than I can describe here, our family got the news that Pud was welcomed at Penn-Mar. In total, my daughter endured 5 months in that hell. The day after Thanksgiving, 2012, our family became Penn-Mar members. Pud had a beautiful new home, surrounded by amazing folks that cared for her and supported her. These seasoned veterans are crusaders and bridge builders. But little did I know just how far and fast that unique Penn-Mar magic would change all of us. Pud's sister decided to veer from a course into graduate school for a new path into law school with hopes of becoming an attorney to help special families like ours. We, her parents, began to sleep again, and the nightmares faded. For many years, our family has been committed to issues confronting families with loved ones who have special needs. We have stood as students, leaders, teachers, and advocates. After Pud's rescue, the Penn-Mar experience has prompted us to do more in the future. But of course, the Penn-Mar magic most profoundly affected Pud. Within days, I began to receive photographs of Miss Pud engaged in activities, interacting with others, and surrounded by people who truly cared for her. Each one documented a step towards recovery. These were enormous gifts. Together, they were like a growing, living book of Where's Waldo? Except they starred Pud more. Then, little stories of her grand adventures arrived in my inbox. There was Pud, stringing beads or painting. There was Pud, out at a restaurant, sitting merrily under a table, enjoying a grand steak dinner. There was Pud, hanging out in an office with 2 gorgeous young men who looked like they could be Ravens' defensive linemen. There was Pud, enjoying her very first theater movie, complete with trees. Yep, the Penn-Mar folks had listened to every tale I shared about what floated Pud's boat. Did I mention just how good-looking those gentlemen were? My baby has great taste, but of course, the nut does not fall far from the tree. The folks at Penn-Mar wrote and called. They asked loads of questions and were always open to ideas and suggestions. Each time Pud came home to us, we saw miraculous change. That is the real Penn-Mar magic. Her sweet giggles and smiles returned. She grew healthier and stronger after her many months of imprisonment. She had regained the famous Pud strut. My spunky, beautiful daughter is finally living the good, full life that I had spent 22 years dreaming of giving to her. Penmar did indeed save Penmar. Next month, our family will gather together to celebrate Thanksgiving. On that day, we will mark our first year anniversary as members of this loving, supportive community. Although we have many things for which we are grateful, the most important blessing that we will count this year is Penmar. This past year has been a season of change, a time of healing, and a chance to grow and trust again. We are surrounded and protected by the most inspiring group of talented, gifted individuals who give so much to our loved ones and to each of us. We are blessed. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I wish each one of you Godspeed and good night.